What's happening, everybody? Todd Crandall, founder of Racing for Recovery, with a nice bright yellow shirt. Makes my tan pop today. I'm here with Megan, an awesome success story of our program. How are you, Megan?
I'm doing good. Thank you.
Are you nervous right now?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. It was kind of unexpected, and it was like just quick. And I've been going through a lot of stuff lately. So I know I've stayed sober through it, but you know, the word success is kind of a scary word at that point when you start going through things and you're healing from things and trying to learn from your past mistakes and stuff. And yeah.
Right off the bat, you're reminding me of how profound that word is for people to feel success. Because I look at you as a success. I wouldn't call you that if I didn't feel that. But it's easy for me to sit over here and say you are. But I've also been doing this long enough. I'm empathetic to be sitting there and going, wait a minute, what is that word? I'm struggling with that. Where is the struggle that you have a hard time accepting that you are a success?
Dealing with things in a positive manner, you know, not being destructive when I find out certain news, from healing from past traumas, when that gets rehashed and brought back up and it becomes a part of my present now because I'm now dealing with it rather than stuffing it down. And it's learning how to just deal with that and how to overcome it and heal from it. So that's just a lot of different emotions that come along with that. And it's terrifying to have emotion because for the longest time I didn't have any emotions. I had one autopilot, and that was using. And so learning how to have emotion is something very new to me.
So how long did you self-destruct with drugs and alcohol?
10 years.
And how long have you been awesomely sober?
14 months.
Okay. So you remember yesterday when I talked to you, you weren't having a good day, let's say, but you had a good day because you weren't using drugs. Having overcome yesterday to sit here today, how is today different? What did you learn, and how does it feel today as opposed to yesterday?
I'm learning to take responsibility over my recovery. I want to make it to the next month and the following month and the following month. And I've never had that kind of drive before. I've never had that hope and that will to live. And today I do. And I know that there's hard days and there's days that sometimes you feel like you can't get through it. But through this amazing lifestyle that Racing for Recovery offers me, I was able to get through it, and I didn't have to make a choice to go back and use and revert back to my old ways. And that's an awesome feeling to overcome that, because normal me would just deconstruct and I would ruin everything in my path.
You know, you just mentioned the word hope, which gets utilized around here a lot. What does having hope, what does that look and feel like to you? So I'm asking you this because another girl who's watching you right now, who's where you used to be, hears you talk about hope. Explain to her what hope looks and feels like for you.
Hope to me today is having dreams that I know one day I can make happen. And I can see them happening, finally. I didn't have dreams for my entire life. And getting sober and learning new things about who I really am, it allows me to dream today and to see a future for myself rather than just living hour by hour, day by day, and just kind of existing.
You know, a lot of people have a tendency, they look at Racing for Recovery and they think, do I have to run or do I have to do Ironmans? And I always say, no, you don't have to do that. And I go into our whole spiel. Having said that, what I have found with being a part of our awesome program and still being able to do those Ironman events is now getting to take people like yourself on these excursions, if you will. So I want you to talk about what going to Ironman Virginia was like for you. And then I'm going to ask you another question there. But what was that like even when Dan said, hey, do you want to go down to Virginia? What were you thinking when we asked you to do that?
So I've never really been on a vacation, like ever. Like other than camping, like growing up kind of thing. But it was never a vacation. In active addiction, I couldn't just say yes to things like that. I didn't have that choice to just, yep, okay, we're leaving tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. No, like that didn't happen. I wasn't able to do things that in my mind I wanted to do, but I couldn't because of my physical addiction to something and mental addiction to something, because there was no way I could make a 7-day trip happen. It just wasn't, there was no way. So being able to just say yes and like, okay, go pack a bag. Okay. And I went and packed everything that I had. And yeah, I mean, it was an amazing, the whole experience was just amazing. It was my first time going to an ocean. I got to put my feet in the ocean and actually swim in the ocean. I was frozen, but I swam. Mm-hmm. And experiencing that sober is something that I never could have even imagined doing.
I just interviewed Jake for our first podcast, and I got to stop saying this because I don't want to say it on every podcast, but that's why one of the main things I love about being privileged to what I am fortunate to do is watching other people experience these things for the first time. And some people may think, well, big deal, she put her foot in the ocean. That was huge. And I love watching stuff like that. That was awesome that day, just watching you do that. I'm like, yeah. And that's what, it's not about the Ironman per se. It's about the relationships that are built from it. So let me ask you this. Going on that trip, how was that enhanced you as a recovering person? And how has it enhanced your peer support around Racing for Recovery?
As a recovering person, it definitely gave me a lot of gratitude to be in a program that takes people to experience things that they never thought that they would experience. Gave me some type of spark that was like, it's like our slogan says, with sobriety, anything's possible. And that's exactly what it is. Like, I would have never thought a week before that's what I was going to be doing that day. And when it came to this peer support, the awesome thing about being around like-minded people is these little like IOP sessions kind of happen in just normal conversation. And it's not an IOP session. It's just what you're talking about at that point, because you're around so many like-minded people and everybody wants to see everybody succeed and wants to help and wants to become a part of their each other's stories and be that positive person in their life. And I got to know people that I would have never guessed I would have got to know, and they're people I have an amazing bond with just because of that trip alone.
So you brought up IOP, and I'm fortunate enough to be in the group that you're in, and you said something very profound last week in IOP that I want you to talk about again. When you made the connection, and I'm not going to get the exact months correct, but you said you had a total of 14 months of sobriety, which is awesome. But you felt that now with the past 4, that it has really been different than having the first 10. Can you talk more about that for people that are watching?
So AJ uses the term white knuckling. I stayed sober for the first 10 months of my sobriety. I went to my IOP sessions. I went to meetings. I did everything that I was required to do, made my sober support calls. I got a sponsor. I did all the things that were supposed to keep me sober. But I wasn't dealing with anything. I was just kind of just staying sober. I just wasn't using. And then I transitioned from another sober living to here, and was told that I have a choice in the matter. No one ever told me that. No one told me that I could say no, and like I could not go use tomorrow, because a lot of times they use the phrase relapse is a part of recovery, and it's my first time in recovery, and I didn't view it that way because I don't want to go back and use, and that was my thought. But when everybody else keeps telling you like, no, you're gonna go back to use, I'm like, no, I'm not. And to have a program that inspires that, exactly, like you guys preach that you have a choice and there's action behind it, and if you choose to put action behind that choice, then you're probably right. You will go back out and use. But today I found out my actions can be so much more fulfilling than using. And so coming here, and the staff that's here, it just makes you feel like you can be who you want to be. You don't have to be in a line of the same exact person row by row by row. Every person identifies as something. And here, you just get to be you. If something works for you, Racing for Recovery promotes that. They want you to run with that. And I never had that ever in life. I never had somebody telling me like, it's okay to be you. I always had somebody trying to mold me into something that I wasn't. So finding a place that allows me to be the unique person that I am, and like they embrace that, is an amazing feeling.
Yeah, I want to make this clear for everybody that's watching this. Relapse is not a part of recovery with respect to what Racing for Recovery views it as. I can't imagine telling somebody that relapse is a part of recovery and having them make a choice to use drugs and die, and then having their parent come to me and say, oh, you told my son that relapse is part of recovery and now he's dead. That is something that we completely disagree with, and you're validating why we do that. So let's talk about, why did you choose us in the first place? You had 10 months of not using, let's say, and from listening to you, it sounds like you were looking to actually live a sober lifestyle and not just not use drugs. Why did you choose Racing for Recovery to help you?
Honestly, I learned from experience of other people. So I've watched other people go in and out of treatment centers, and they get a couple months and they're okay and they're fine. And then I see them back a few months later and they're not okay. So I tried to do almost like a transitioning kind of thing. Like I went from a complete lockdown facility where I had no phone, no nothing. And then I went into a facility that was a little bit more open. And then once I had started researching places that were more so like 3-quarter houses, because I knew I wasn't ready to go and do this by myself. I knew I still needed guidance. I still needed accountability. I still needed those things in my life, because if I didn't, I knew where my mind was when I was leaving a facility. So when I came across Racing for Recovery, I got on the phone with Dan, and the passion that's behind what he has to say about Racing for Recovery is exactly what I experience here. And it was a leap of faith in a lot of ways, but I mean, it was the best decision I made, because it allows me to go and experience life, but I also still have amazing peer support. When I have bad days, I can literally run across the street and come and cry in the lobby until I can talk to somebody. And that's one of the best things about coming to lodging here. For me, it was, because I don't think I could do that anywhere else. Anywhere else, past experiences, if you don't have something scheduled, well, I guess you'll have to write that down and wait till next week when I have time for you. And the staff here is something that you don't find anywhere else.
It reminded me when I used the word success. So this to me is another reminder of that. When you were treated with respect yesterday, and just as you're describing, when we're not like, well, I'm sorry you're contemplating hurting yourself right now, does next Thursday sound okay? It was, what do you need? What does that do for you to see that you're of value when you're treated like that?
So from past traumas and stuff, I don't have people that genuinely care. You know, you have people that say, hi, how you doing? And they don't really care, you know, at least, you know, in my head, they don't care. And like coming in here and like knowing that like there were so many people that were just willing to like help, even if they didn't know who I was or I really haven't talked to them or anything like that. Like that gives me that self-esteem that I've been trying to rebuild, because finally I have value in myself, because I see that, you know, my life matters to these people and it should start mattering to me too.
Do you understand now why I'm calling you a success? You're going to have to go back and watch this. That's why you're a success. You're implementing what we're offering here, and it's working. The beauty of our lodging, I don't like calling it a lodging program, the beauty of having an opportunity to have a roof over your head at Racing for Recovery, because that's what it is. It's not jail for us. We're not going to lock people down. We want to give them an opportunity to utilize this, where it's across the street. You can do whatever you want. You want to use drugs? You can do that. There's consequences of that. But look what you're doing with everything you're talking about here. I have the ability to empower myself to make the right choice, and I'm seeing the growth that you're exhibiting through that. It's remarkable. That's why you're a success here. What's it like to be a sober mom?
It's something I've never experienced prior to this last 14 months. My parents have my son, so I get to have him by myself throughout the month, a couple weekends in a row. And it's something that, for once, I'm not basing my day off of me, which is all I've done his whole life, is base it off of, where am I going to get this from? How am I going to do this? You know? So our time together is really awesome. And it's, so new and so almost foreign, because, you know, it's like I've known him and he's my son and it's always been me and him, but there's always a substance behind it. And there was always something that controlled my day, where now when I spend time with him, he calls the shots all the time, and he's like a 30-year-old man in a 9-year-old's body. So he's more the adult in the situation. But I love that about him. He understands what Racing for Recovery is. He loves Racing for Recovery. He loves being here. He loves the people. He loves the staff. He always asks when he comes here if he can just live here with me. And I'm like, well, I mean, that'd be ideal. But, you know, it's something I look forward to, because right now, you know, like I said, that role of a mom is hard for me to accept right now, because they have him all the time. So I don't do the homework. I don't do the tucking into bed. I don't do, you know, making a breakfast and stuff like that. And that's something I look forward to.
Racing for Recovery does a lot of not only visualization, and, you know, we encourage people, and society does this too. Well, can you visualize what waking up and cooking breakfast for your son is going to look like? And that's common. How is it going to feel when you do that? And notice my verbiage. I said, how's it going to feel when you do that? Not if you do that, when you do that. Can you even put into words like how that's going to feel for you?
No, honestly. It's one of those things it's that feeling of euphoria that you can only get in certain forms. And that's one of them for me.
Do you know you're going to be doing that though?
Yes.
100%. How many, I'll keep it positive. How does it feel to be able to bring your son here anytime you want?
It's amazing, honestly. You know, him being so young, I never knew how to explain addiction to him. I had no idea how to. And, you know, you get kind of worried sometimes, like, okay, is something going to happen? And here I don't have to worry about that. I know that he's safe here. I know it's a safe environment. The people's intentions here are always pure. And he loves it here. He absolutely loves it. My friends, you know, they've kind of, he likes them more than me sometimes. I feel like he wants to just come hang out with them. But it's amazing to have the opportunity, because a lot of places, you know, they won't allow your child to come and spend the night with you 3 nights in a row because it's the weekend that, you know, you have to spend time with your child. I don't have a home outside of here. I don't have anywhere to go outside of here. So this is my home. And when he comes and he feels comfortable enough to run around in his little underwear around the room, that shows me something. He's not being boxed up. He's not, you know, acting a certain way because he's uncomfortable. He feels comfortable here, and that's what matters to me.
So yesterday, you came to me and you said something to the effect of, you know, I think I need to do, or maybe I should. And basically it was like you came to the conclusion that you could do more here. Not that what you're doing isn't good, but you could do more. So talking about this again right now, and you thought about it last night, are there some things that you are now going to start doing that you know will enhance your new way of living?
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
So today I'm going to the gym. I'm not going to do anything crazy because tomorrow I'm doing boot camp. And
with Todd's sister, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I look forward to seeing how sore you are on Monday.
But you know, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, if so many people tell you something's good for you and you see the result in them doing it and they have no complaints other than they might be a little sore, I mean, what's the worst that can come of it? I think it's been, for me, it's been the self-esteem aspect of it where it's like, am I worth becoming better? And I am. And yesterday kind of showed me that. It showed me that, yeah, no, I deserve to live my life as fully as I can. And instead of trying new monsters, maybe I could try different workout routines.
Once again, I keep coming back to calling you a success, and this is another example of why I feel that you're a success. You have been willing and have an open mind to try new things, and you just said it, because you're starting to value yourself. That's why, you know, you're reducing your smoking. You're going to start exercising. I know you've changed. You're drinking water.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And those are the things that are showing self-respect. And what that does then, it's going to carry over to your son, your peers, everybody else. So how has peer support, and you mentioned this earlier, you talked about other people that are doing things and you see that it's helping them. Can you give some examples of some of your peers that have been motivating for you?
Yes. Desiree, she and Randall are amazing motivators. Eric Donati, I watch him, you know, he's over at the condo, so we don't get to chat as much, but every time I see him, you know, he's either working out and he's, you know, he's dealing with things, and watching somebody go through things that are hard, and they get through it is super inspirational, because it's like, okay, well, if they can get through that, I can probably get through this too.
You want to take a guess at who I'm interviewing next? Eric Donati. Yeah. Anybody else you want to mention, like what you've seen and learned from them?
Everybody here, you know, I learn everything. You know, it's something that you've taught me is to always, you know, learn from people. Stay a student. Don't think that because you have more time than somebody that you're the teacher now, because that humility is a big deal, and ego and pride step in the way sometimes. And I learn new things from every meeting, every IOP, just general conversation with people around here, because we're so alike. We're like a house of crazies all in one. And I love that about this place.
Me too. You know, and we're both laughing, and I love using laughter. If I'm not laughing at least half of my day, there's a problem. And you said something to me yesterday that hopefully you can bring that laughter back out again. And we were talking about the relatability factor, and it was something about age, and you said, well, I can relate to you. I just was 2 years old when you started doing this, or however you said that. I thought that was, I'm like, are you saying I'm old, or what are you saying here? But just the laughter that goes on here is awesome.
Yeah, you almost kind of think it's scripted when you walk in, because I remember walking in my first day and I was like, all these people are in a good mood. So I'm kind of curious, like, what is going on here? And then I found out it's just the vibe. It's the green walls. I don't know what it is. It's an amazing, just a positive, the whole place is just covered in positivity. You know, even when you try to go negative, someone's like, hang on a second. You might want to be negative right now, and that's okay to feel that way, but listen, we're going to try to put a positive spin on this, and let's look at it from a different angle. And that's the best thing about peer support here is people will pull you out of your negativity if you want to come out or not.
Right. I think of that. That's another thing. Several people have said it's almost like you guys are skeptical. And again, when we're not feeling good about ourselves, or we've had promises broken or whatever, and you come into a place like this, that you're right, it is all positive. It's not, well, 3 out of 4 of you aren't going to make it. It's every single one of you can make it. How you doing? What do you need? It's all positive. I can understand why there is that. Is this real? I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. When are we going to find out how negative this place really is? And we're never going to show that, because that's not what you deserve, and that's not who we are. You know, what does the future look like for Megan?
Sober. My son is in my life every day, living with me. I hope to go back to school. I just want to be happy.
How do we help you do all that?
Right now I'm learning how to do all that. I'm learning how to deal with certain things that I don't know how to deal with yet, but I'm learning how to do that. I'm figuring out what makes me tick. I'm figuring out new things, and it's really by trial and error. You know, there's certain things that I'm not going to be good at, or there's certain things that, you know, I don't like. And that's kind of the cool thing about healing is, like, you figure those things out, and it's really, like, organic almost, because you get put in situations. There's so many activities and things to be a part of around here. You know, this isn't just the normal, hey, hang out, all right, walk back over the building, all right, come back over here, okay, smoke breaks there, then, you know, I mean, it's not that. There's so many different outlets here, and it can be from working out, yeah, that's a big one, but that's because it's healthy for you. I've never heard of anybody saying, oh my gosh, I worked out and now I'm, you know, miserable person in the world. Yep. Never heard that. But I mean, from learning new things, I mean, I know that they offer arts here and music here and, you know, sports and intellectual spirituality stuff. Like, there's so many different outlets that you can learn how to put in that lovely little wheel of balance and figure that out. And here allows me to do that. So it's kind of a learning experience more than anything.
How does it feel to know that if you need something, you can ask and you know that basically it's going to get done for you? How does that feel?
Foreign.
For you?
Yeah, foreign.
Oh, foreign. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Is it becoming less foreign?
Yes. Because I'm learning that there's good people in this world. Not everybody's out to get me. I'm learning that not everybody has an ulterior motive. And people just want to see you do well and succeed in life and be happy and figure out what's going to do that for you and how can we make that happen. That's the biggest thing. First day I walked in here is, what's your name and what can we do to help you? And you guys help shine light on certain things in my life that make me realize what I can and can't do.
Are you a success story of ours?
Yeah.
That's all I want to do. This is Megan, everybody. Thanks for coming on. That's it. We're done.